Hello and welcome to First Impressions. This is a show where my co-host Dash Hooper and I evaluate an album we've never heard before each week. And after playing it, we take notes, rate it in a variety of categories, and let you know what we think. And the album we're looking at tonight is The Argument, the 2001 album by Fugazi. And we are joined tonight by DM Ray. Mr. Ray, how are you doing tonight?
I have a thing. I have my volumes. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah.
I'm just messing with you. It's good to be on, guys. This is going to be a really good time. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're always happy to have you here. And when we're not covering yacht rock, I guess maybe that's better when we cover something I hate. So,
well, this one's like 30 years past where you perform hate throwing, so I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, we've moved 30 years of cushion that we have. Safe.
Yeah.
So the safety net is there. But I don't know. There's I can find stuff I hate from every era. I'm an equal opportunity hater. I mean, granted, I'm a Fugazi guy, and when we get into everything, we'll talk about it. But it doesn't matter. I mean, there's plenty of 90s rock I hate. I love 90s rock, but there's plenty I despise when you get those kind of bands that are like third generation Pearl Jam ripoffs. I'm not here for that.
That's Lorraine and I were sitting here the other night, and we were watching the best of the 90s. We found this YouTube channel that has all the 90s stuff on it, and it was amazing. I'm like, there's things I like, obviously, but there's some things I'm like, God, all of these bands, if they didn't put a name and put a picture or put their themselves up there, I would think it was the same person on a few of them.
They're all Pearl Jam. It all becomes like they get that Eddie Vedder growl and they're like, cool, they can be the next Pearl Jam. And then you got 7 Mary 3. It's another Pearl Jam. Yeah, and then you got like Nickelback that's essentially another Pearl Jam. And then you got Creed that's another Pearl Jam with a fan blowing his hair. It's like everything's Pearl Jam when it comes down to it.
So it's okay.
See, but those are like 4th generation Pearl Jam clones. That's why they have to like blow their hair with a fan. And
I will die on the Nickelback hill, people. I will die on that hill.
You can die on that hill, and I'll bring the sword.
This is amazing. We're not even 5 minutes in, and I'm already having a really good time here. It's amazing.
So as you can see, I will hate on any generation. Like, don't get me started on the 2000s and the Limp Bizkits and Korns. Like, oh man, that's not my wheelhouse.
When the gauntlet is thrown down, be prepared to have the gauntlet picked up and be bludgeoned with it.
Yes,
and you're around Ed.
He slapped him with the leather gloves. How dare you?
Ed replies with an infinity gauntlet. Boom.
Yeah. It's like, all right, I will slap you with the Infinity Gauntlet, and I will tell you why all those bands are useless to society. But that's for another night. Tonight we're talking about Fugazi, and I mean, Dash may disagree with me on Fugazi, and that's okay because we're not here to just agree with each other all the time. And I wish we could revisit some of the early shows when I didn't quite know how Dash would react if I got insanely mean. So my original notes for like the Jethro Tull album we covered, and April's like, that's a little bit too harsh. You don't know him. He might never want to be on the show again if you read those notes. So the original notes, I did. I mean, it's not like I was saying I love the album, but those were my nice versions of the notes. And April's like, don't do that until you've done it a couple weeks and you kind of know where he stands. Because if you come out with it with guns blazing, you might scare him off right away.
I would rather you come out gun. I mean, I don't hold back on my movie reviews. So.
I know it now, but that was our second week, so it's kind of like, well, Dash picked this album. I don't want to completely shit on it, and then. I learned it's okay.
Ray came in and egged us on to.
Now
that never happens.
Now he nudges, but the first couple weeks I had much meaner notes than what we had in the final product. Now I don't care because I know it's all okay. So let's see, and we'll get into the history of the artist. Lots of podcasts I listened to get these notes. So you got 60 songs that explain the 90s. You have Bandsplain, and then the book Our Band Could Be Your Life. That's kind of where I compiled all these notes for. So I want to give credit where it's due. I listened to those when I was running, so let's dig into the Cliff Notes version of the history of Fugazi, because all of these podcasts chalk in at well over an hour to, I think the Bandsplain one's 3 hours. So we're not here for 3 hours to hear the history, but it's relatively detailed notes, all things considered, for this show, because sometimes I do less. It just depends. If I can find good research out there from books and things like that, then I'll do it. So, history of the band. Fugazi was formed in 1986 by Ian MacKaye, who had briefly formed a band called Embrace. And kind of fun fact about Embrace, they're credited with creating emo. And you don't want to say that to Ian MacKaye. He'll probably punch you and walk away, because they hate that label. They don't want to be labeled emo, but they kind of called them emotional hardcore. And he said, isn't all hardcore emotional? Get the fuck out of here with that label. But he formed Embrace after Minor Threat broke up, and that was his first band, the hardcore straight edge band that managed to produce 25 of the shortest, angriest songs on the planet, and I love them all. So yes, I started, that's something I love. But Minor Threat broke up because the rest of the members wanted to do something more commercial and start getting kind of notice on radio and stuff like that, and MacKaye wasn't for it, so he formed Embrace, and then they broke up pretty quickly. I don't think they ever even toured. They have a few songs out, maybe an album. And he formed Fugazi as a three-piece with Ian MacKaye on guitar and vocals, Joe Lally on bass, and Colin Sears on drums. And MacKaye's original vision for Fugazi was to break away from the kind of just all straight ahead hardcore sound and bring in elements of reggae and of funk. And he decided to do that with a new band. And in 87, Sears left the band, returned to Dag Nasty, which was his original band, and he was replaced by Brendan Canty from the recently disbanded Rites of Spring, which is also credited for creating emo. So both those bands kind of created emo, even though they'll never admit to it. Kind of like dad rock, we were talking about, the alt country, which Wilco wants to get away from, but instead they got branded dad rock. So did they really win? I don't know.
No.
But, and Ian MacKaye never wanted that emo label, and Fugazi never really got put in that label. It was more post-hardcore. But yeah, if you interview, I mean, you can read some of the interviews where he gets said, oh yeah, and you helped bring emo into the world, and it's his baby, but he will not claim it. He refuses to claim that parentage.
He's not for the genre of I'm going to kill myself. He's of the genre of I'm going to kill people.
Yeah. We will attack you with a sledgehammer. We will not attack ourselves.
Yes.
So he brought in Canty from Rites of Spring, and Canty brought his bandmate Guy Picciotto, and Guy he was just kind of watching practices and things like that, didn't know where he would fit into the band, but wanted to be a part of it. So they originally brought him in as like a Flavor Flav for the band, who would just add little bits and pieces here and there to the songs, a hip hop foil, and he would just accentuate the songs. So that's where they brought him in originally. So now they solidified the lineup, and that's the lineup that actually stayed the entire way through. They never changed members again after that. So they started to tour extensively, but they had booked a bunch of shows and didn't even have a band name yet. And that's where MacKaye came up with Fugazi, which he saw in a book called Nam, which was a military term that meant something was extremely fucked up. So that is where he got that name and stuck with it. So in 88, after touring extensively, they released their first EP and launched a tour of Europe. And at the end of the European tour, they had planned to record their first album, but they were exhausted, and all they could put together of good material was another EP. And I guess through the European tour, they lived in these kind of, they call them squats, but it was just kind of where these abandoned factories and abandoned, apartment buildings that punks had taken over. And then they just gave them beds like over there on the side. And they had broken toilets, rats crawling all around. And that's where they were living through all this. They never got hotels or anything like that. So they were exhausted from a disgusting tour, sleeping in piss-covered sleeping bags and, next to some rats. So they couldn't put a full album together, but they put another EP, and then they combined the two EPs into what's called the 13 Songs album. So I don't know if was that the one you were originally going to cover? Originally wanted to cover, Dash?
Yeah, that was that one, because
that was the first choice.
Yeah, you said you'd already listened to that one, so that's why we went.
I know that one far too well. That's one of kind of like last week when we covered Neutral Milk Hotel on Avery Island. It's because I know In the Airplane Over the Sea way too well. So we picked their final album, which is the only one I've never played of theirs, because I have a weird thing about finishing stuff. It took me like 2 years before I would finish Sandman. I had the final issue sitting there, but I just didn't want to read it because it meant it was over.
It's over. Yeah.
And it took me the same one. Why the Last Man? I'm sitting there with that final issue like, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to finish this, because when I do that, there's nothing left. So with this final Fugazi album, it was the same thing. I sat there, I was holding it like, all right, I owned it, but I wouldn't play it. So with this, we kind of finally got me to play their final album, because I hate ending things. So yes, one day I'll have to end my own book, and I'm going to hate that too. But
it's understandable. I know the feelings now.
I've already written the ending, so I've already committed to what's got to happen. But yeah, with other people's stuff, I just wait because I don't like it to end.
Yeah.
All right. So after they released the combined album, Pachotto wanted to take on a larger role in the band. So they let him start playing guitar, because before that, he was just kind of running around the stage. Two things I read compared him to Gumby, because he was just kind of bending, flailing. There's a famous picture of him hanging from a basketball hoop where he's in the hoop with his feet kind of keeping him. He's upside down and he's singing. And then eventually, I guess he falls on the drummer, but the famous picture doesn't have that. It just has him hanging in the basketball hoop and singing. So he then began playing guitar, and on the album Repeater, their first official album, he was playing guitar. He was singing more complete songs, not just being kind of like a Flavor Flav, yeah, boy in the background kind of guy.
That's what I'm waiting for.
So they toured extensively and were easily selling out 1,000+ capacity venues. But one of their things they insisted all the venues be all ages, and they never charged more than $5 for a ticket. And that's up to when they called it quits in 2003. So I think I have a couple Fugazi ticket stubs that are $5. And what's crazy is the Ticketmaster fee's like $4. Like, damn, Ticketmaster's taking it almost as much as the band.
Yeah, well, that's Ticketmaster anyways.
That's how Ticketmaster does it. Like, oh, we'll take an equal distribution because it's so hard for us to press print on that ticket. But don't get me started on Ticketmaster. We'll be back in another tirade.
Hi, Lori.
Yes, I am reading my notes, so I don't see any of the comments. So let me pop them up. We have a few here, so let's take a look. So Grant, yes, Fugazi. The bass lines, we'll kind of talk about those when we get there. So, and then Ex Spectator is on the soundtrack for his comic. I love that one. He's talking about the drum intro. And when we get to our favorite songs, we'll talk about that. But that is one of those ones where they have two drummers on that song. They bring in two drummers, and if you know me, I am an absolute sucker for good percussion, and Ex Spectator, when we get there, is definitely on it. And I think probably the same tour you're talking about. I saw them in LA playing with Sleater-Kinney. So yeah, it was good stuff. Amazing show. And kind of talking about their shows, they brought in different openers for all of the different shows because they wanted to give these bands a chance to be noticed. And Ian MacKaye would always watch the opener because he opened up for Public Image Limited, which has Johnny Rotten from I'm thinking Dead Kennedys, but that's the wrong band. From why can I not think of that damn punk band? Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols. Yeah.
And he was so excited to be playing a show in front of one of his idols, and discovered that he wasn't even at the show for the opener, and he just saw him kind of roll up in a limo, and Ian tried to introduce himself, and he's like, "Who the fuck are you? Leave me alone." So at that point, he decided, I will never skip an opener. I will always watch them. I'll always go up to them after the show and tell them that I appreciated their set. And that was during his days of Minor Threat. And he realized he wouldn't do that. So yeah, they kept the prices at $5. Mackay served as the booking agent. He served as the band manager. He drove the bus himself. And that's how they were able to keep those ticket prices down, because they didn't have any middlemen. It was all him. And they got a lot more word of mouth, and the album started to sell more and more on his label Discord, which fully independent, same thing. And it ended up by the end of 1991 selling over 300,000 copies with no radio play. And at that point, not even barcodes. So it was only if a record store would take it on without a barcode, which I know this when I try to go get my comic into the comic shops. Like, I don't have a barcode, but some of them will still take it on. And next they released Steady Diet of Nothing, which sold 160,000 copies on pre-order before it even got released. So their reputation began to grow. They released 2 new albums, In on the Kill Taker in 1993. And this was kind of after punk broke. So we're talking post Nirvana world. So everybody's looking for that kind of stuff. So this one actually charted on Billboard, and then they released Red Machine in 1994. Both of those cracked the Billboard Top 100. And at this point, the record labels wanted them. And Atlantic came in, offered them $10 million to sign, and they said, fuck off, which is kind of what Ian Mackay does. He's not here for that. He was offered a huge sum of money to headline Lollapalooza. Again, he told them to go away. And they released In Hits in 1998, followed by the album we're covering tonight, The Argument, in 2001. And on their last tour, they played for over 700,000 people in much larger venues. But again, ticket prices never went above. I think the highest ticket price they charged was $6 because the venue refused to let them charge $5. And they announced an indefinite hiatus in November of 2003, which is still going now, even though I believe I was reading that Coachella offered them a large amount of money to headline, and they refused it. But there's no animosity between the band. They've actually played together. They'll get together and just kind of jam, but they're not doing anything official. So they're not doing any official shows or anything like that.
So they're not going into full Alan Moore.
They are not. They're not playing anything. They're just like Ian Mackay. Actually, all the band members have done different side bands and things like that. Ian Mackay was in a band, I think it's Corky. He's been in that band. The drummer and bassist are in a jazz fusion band that just released an album. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going down with them, but not officially Fugazi.
Right.
I don't know what Guy is up to, but yeah, they're always kind of doing side projects, always through Discord, keeping it in their own house.
As long as they're doing jazz flute in their jazz fusion band.
I don't know if there's jazz flute. I listened to a couple songs, and it's just like, I love Fugazi, but I do not love jazz fusion. So good on you. Enjoy yourselves, but you'll enjoy it without me.
I might like jazz fusion better. I don't know. I have to listen to it.
We'll see. All right. So history of this album. The Argument is the 6th and final album by Fugazi. It was released October 10th, 2001, and it reflects a more expansive sound that the band was looking to get to, where they added a second drummer for some tracks. They brought in piano, cello, and even Kathy Wilcox from Bikini Kill came in and did backing vocals on several tracks. And up until this point, none of those things were on any of the Fugazi albums. And it was the most collaborative album of their career. So each member brought in demos. They expanded those demos. They tried them live to kind of get the final sound down, and kind of built these things where it was all the band contributing together, where earlier it was Mackay doing a lot of the songwriting, and they started working together, but it was a lot of difficulty because they were just trying to be too nice. Their other albums, they fought, or the other bands he was in fought so much that he just thought, I will let everyone have a voice. And this one, they finally found a way to work without just being yes men to each other. So Mackay describes this album as an anti-war manifesto, and yeah, we'll see what we have to say on that one as we progress. So what does that say?
Go ahead.
I don't know. I cannot read that small writing.
Pale head.
All right. So reviews of this album. We'll move into that. Reviews were generally positive. It got praised for its songwriting and production. Most of the critics rated it as one of their best albums when it was released. It sits at an 87 on Metacritic, and AllMusic gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Alternative Press gave it an 8 out of 10. NME, which is kind of the British Rolling Stone, gave it an 8 out of 10. Pitchfork gave it an 8.5 out of 10 because they must do the decimals. I'm surprised they didn't give it like an 8.6.
I'm surprised they didn't give it a 10. I am surprised they didn't give it a 10. They
probably would now. It was, they wrote this. This is actually a Pitchfork real-time review, which is rare. But yeah, they gave it an 8.5. I think they gave the previous album, which was, I think they gave that one a lower grade, like in the 7s. So they weren't just, sucking on the Tita Fugazi, as it were. They saved that for Wilco.
Yeah, they did for Wilco.
That one is the one they dropped a perfect 10 on as it was released. Like Neutral Milk Hotel, they gave it a 10 eventually, but its initial review was more in the 7s. So yeah, this one, they reviewed it in real time. If they go back and re-review it, I'm sure they'll just scrub this first review. But the reviewer did say it was one of their best albums. So he was very positive about it, just gave it the 8.5. And then Rolling Stone gave it a 4 out of 5 because that's what Rolling Stone does. Only Neil Young and Bruce Springsteen get anything above a 4 out of 5 until later when they do it in one of those retrospective reviews, be like, we always loved it, even though we trashed it the first time around. We're looking at their review of Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life.
Oh yeah, they don't get any credit from me on any of them thing now.
Yeah, when they trashed the album, but now they rated it in their top albums of all time. It's like, come on, Rolling Stone, you can't have it both ways, but they can because they just try to pretend that those original reviews don't exist.
We know they do.
Yeah, the internet keeps them,
exists.
or my library self reading all the original reviews on Microfiche. Microfiche never lies; it's always truthful. You have to be old enough to know what microfiche is, but it always tells the truth.
Well, you've got to be old enough to know what it is, but you also have to be able to sneak through the Iron Curtain to get the stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah, they keep that under lock and key.
Yeah. When I was in high school, our library had a full drawer, because it was little drawers of microfiche, and it was drawers and drawers, and they had every Rolling Stone ever published on microfiche. So I just sat in there reading reviews and then laughing when Rolling Stone contradicted themselves. I always thought it was funny even then. Yes, I was not the popular kid in high school, as this would document. It's like, instead of hanging outside, flirting with girls, I was reading microfiche Rolling Stone. So it's a miracle I'm married. That's all I can say.
There could be worse things. Trust us.
I guess there could be. I mean, I wasn't into any shenanigans. I was reading microfiche Rolling Stone, but what can you do?
I didn't get many shenanigans, but I did blow stuff up on my parents' farm property, which was a lot of fun. But
I lived in the desert for a while, and we blew some stuff up because there wasn't much else to do.
I might have lit the plastic straw on the end of the WD-40 on fire and then sprayed it a little bit
Yeah.
in certain places, but I think that might have been the only damage I did.
Yeah. I mean, I was basically, a few of my friends back when I lived in the desert, this was elementary school years, they were banned from hanging with me because they're like, that kid has a way overactive imagination and he always gets you into terrible stuff. So yes, that might have happened. And then, you know, the nerds like that grow up to read microfiche in the library.
This is true. This is a true statement.
All right. So our history. Now we'll get in out of the history of Fugazi. I could go on for days. I mean, I love the fact that they are like kind of pillars of integrity, keeping things at $5, never going to a major label, and also donating huge portions of money to different charitable donation or charitable organizations. And also I found out that they've sold through their career over 3 million records, and pretty much all that money goes to them. Yeah. So that's the way. Awesome. That's the way to do it in that world without having to use a major label. When you can sell 3 million copies, where you don't need Warner Brothers or Atlantic backing you, when you can sell that many on your own. Most bands don't have that luxury, and they need to sell those albums just to survive. But Mackay always had Minor Threat to kind of, people knew Minor Threat, so they were going to always give him a chance, and most bands don't have that. So yeah, what is your history with Fugazi, Dash?
I mean, so I'm going to preface this entire show right now with the 90s were not my thing. The 90s and the early 2000s, I was deployed. I mean, literally all the time. So a lot of these albums that we're getting ready to go, or we've had a stretch of 90s. So forgive me if I say something that offends you, but I'm probably going to say something that offends most people. But my history for Fugazi is literally right when I picked the first album. We had to change it, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's my history with him, and I'm trying, because I was trying to, you know, as we've done this show, I'm trying to expand and expand and expand and expand, and go out further. And so this is it. I probably should have started from the beginning. I will say that I probably should have started from the beginning, because it might give me a little bit different viewpoint on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you had suggested the 13 songs, and that's such a good album, and that's kind of what the world started with Fugazi. But yeah, starting at the end is always a tricky thing to do, because you're getting kind of their late career albums instead of their early, more, you know, on fire albums. So it's a tricky way to do it. And I guess at least with Neutral Milk Hotel, you started from the beginning, which is not where most people started with that band. Most people started with Airplane. So you kind of will get the early, and then eventually we'll eventually do the later one on here in some form of capacity. Yeah. But starting with the end is always a trickier way. All right,
so Ray, it's like reading Jack Reacher and knowing he dies, and then going back and reading all of the rest of the I just can't do it. It's, you know.
Jack Reacher dies?
No, Jack Reacher doesn't die.
You spoiled it for me. That's it. I just bought the Jack Reacher series from Amazon, and I'm sending them back.
Well, wouldn't that be a hoot if I really? Woo! Yeah. Never mind. I didn't mean Jack Reacher.
Dodge that bullet.
Jack Archer.
Yeah. If we had a producer, we'd edit that out.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Ray, what's your history of Fugazi?
Well, the history I have is quite short, but it's actually vicarious, I guess is the word I would use. Mm-hmm. I've heard of Fugazi a bunch of times. That last album, 2001. Mm-hmm. Don't hate me. I was in the second last year of high school.
Okay.
But I had a lot of buddies that talked about Fugazi and really liking their stuff. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I never got into them. So this has been a whole new experience for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool, because it's one of those things. I remember the people in high school would be wearing that shirt that said "This is not a Fugazi shirt," which I remember seeing those shirts everywhere. And at first, I thought it was the band trying to, you know, be silly and ironic. Which, if you know anything about Ian Mackay, those are not words that used to describe him. So turns out someone else was making those shirts because Fugazi didn't do merchandise. They refused. They even have a song called merchandise, talking about how much they hate it. And that's why if you went to one of their concerts, they're not selling albums, they're not selling shirts. They just have booths where you can sign up for different organizations. And the person who did those shirts, they ended up finding him and they said, that's great that you did that, but we're either going to sue you or you're going to donate all the profits that you made to these charitable organizations. So that's what happened with the This Is Not a Fugazi shirt guy.
If they don't like merchandise, they're definitely not going to hang out with Lori and Carissa. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we'll just play merchandise for them, and they can. That's not their thing. Yeah, they didn't even bring it to the
Fugazi add-ons to their Kickstarter.
Yes, this is not Fugazi.
These are not Fugazi add-ons. This is not Fugazi salsa.
We'll spell it wrong. Fewgazzi. Fugazi.
There you go.
There you go. Spell it a little different. This is not a Fugazi hot sauce.
Yeah.
And these are not Fugazi journals or plushies.
That's amazing.
That is
so I'll buy one right now.
Yeah, I want to. This is not. And then Ian Mackay will find out, and they'll get to donate their profits to a charitable organization, so they can say like we gave back in the end, because that was not Fugazi salsa or hot sauce, I guess. Salsa. Yes. All right. So I guess my history. I love Minor Threat. Because Minor Threat, I like I was saying, they put out a total of 25 songs, but if you know anything about them, they were kind of angry straight edge. Even though even Ian Mackay made the term straight edge, he doesn't embrace it. He embraces the lifestyle, but he's like, I don't want a bunch of people living in stupid ways and getting picky about it. Because someone, I guess, confronted him before a show because he was sitting there sipping iced tea, and he's like, wait, iced tea is a drug, you're not straight edge. And he said, you can go fuck off, and let it be known like that. So he said he hated that he spawned things like that, but they didn't have alcohol or anything served at their shows unless the venue would allow it and let it still be all ages. So I got into Fugazi, but it was one of those things or Minor Threat, but it was one of those things where I didn't get into Fugazi initially because the punk assholes in school would say, oh, Fugazi, man, they're sellouts, which they're completely opposite of sellouts when you look at it.
Listen to this record, I would disagree that they are sellouts.
Yeah, but you hear that's what they would say, so I kind of just didn't pay much attention to them. And then the mid-90s, I bought I think it was like a warehouse going out of business sale where everything got to dirt cheap, and I grabbed a couple of Fugazi albums and listened. I'm like, damn, those guys were full of shit. All these years, I wasn't listening to this because they said it wasn't good. And yeah, I got hooked on them. And at that point, I was able to see them in concert before their disbanding. And, $5, you got to love that. They also, of their $5 things, they were saying the problem is it's $5, which means the assholes who can afford a $5 ticket end up going to your show and causing chaos. And actually our closing today, I got Guy yelling at someone as our closing. So when we do the end credits, you can hear Guy yelling at a ice cream eating motherfucker, as he calls him, and you can hear the whole tirade. All right, so now let's dig into our overall thoughts. All right, so Dash, what are your overall thoughts on this one?
Oh, here's where we get the 3-page essays and the.
All right, Kate, you're gonna get Kate Bush.
I'm gonna get Kate Bushed on this one. Like I said, I probably should have started from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not an angry guy. I'm just not an angry guy. And being the military man I am, there was a little bit of contradictions in some of the things that I feel that they feel. Understandable what they feel, but I guess that's why I served 23 years, to give them that right to feel the way they feel.
Yeah.
So I just had a lot of contradictions. That doesn't mean it's not that I don't enjoy their singing or things like that. Like I said, that first song, and we'll talk about that one here in a minute. I just felt like this was a lack of better term, a ideologue album than it was an emotional album. And again, I say this with the caveat that I haven't listened to the other albums. So when you write your 3-page essay, keep that in mind. that I haven't listened to the entire
Al-
library that they have.
Although I will say this, knowing your feelings on this, the catalog might not be written for you.
There you go.
It is they are very political. Now that's one thing you don't get in Fugazi, or not in Fugazi, in Minor Threat. Minor Threat, they were angry about kind of assholes who were drinking and people who were, abusing people, and you don't get the politics in Minor Threat. And there's anger. I mean, every lyric is yelled at, top capacity, but it's not really political. Fugazi brings in the political, and then, the in-between band that got labeled emo, that one is more like, it's a lot of self-loathing on that album, even though you got like this super businessman who shouldn't be yelling, I'm useless, but it's like, dude, you're doing more work than most people do in their lifetime in a week, running a record label, touring, booking all these things for all of your bands. So it's one of those things where if this doesn't grab you, you're probably going to have a hard time with some of their other albums, although not all of them are as overtly political. Some, they're talking about, gender things where they're talking about women getting harassed on the streets. They're definitely they have a song about hating merchandise. So, I mean, you get a little bit of everything. You get some where they talk about, someone they know who overdosed on drugs. So not all of it is aimed at politics, but none of it's generally happy. You don't put on Fugazi because you want to feel happy in the end. You're not like, here's my feel-good music of the day. This is not Bobby McFerrin. You're going to get some
sleep
shit
to this.
Yeah. Let me put on some Fugazi so I can wind down tonight.
Yeah, I'm not white noising this. Trust me, I'm not white noising.
Yeah. My wife's not a Fugazi person. She let me listen to this one alone, but she's known she's not a Fugazi person for a while. So I play it mostly in the background, but my GPS or my Spotify always seems to latch onto her car, and I was driving home right behind her and she got Fugazi. I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hand you Fugazi.
Let me back up. It's funny, I was doing my third listen today, and the girls finally, I had it on because I was doing something in the house, and I had it on, and the girls go, Dad, this is not our favorite album. This is a out. They don't sing in key, Dad. And I was like, it's okay. And then
that's Ian MacKay.
You should have said, Fugazi, be kidding me.
Fugazi, get I might add that into my.
Ian and Guy are not exactly crooners. You're not. This is not Jeff Buckley. They're not belting out 4-octave range. They got like a 1/2 octave range, but they do it angrily and they do it loud.
They're more like the cough syrup Buckleys. It tastes bad, but it works kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that listening to a lot of punk coming up, that none of them had an octave range of anything, but Anger was their octave range. They had a 4 Anger range, and I was here for that.
I've listened to Rage and all and some of those, and at least they're a little bit on key for the most part. But
I mean, Rage is there. Rage. Yeah. I mean, some of them have more range than others, but in the end, punk rock was not about singing voices. I mean, you pull out old Black Flag and you listen to Henry Rollins, and he has one range of the same thing as Fugazi, the yell range. And that's when I started my punk band Elmo's Revenge back in high school and college. Elmo's Revenge. I had a 0 octave range as well, but I could yell like a maniac.
That's why she fell in love with you, though.
Yeah. April watched me jump off the stairs and slam a mic on the ground during
Elmo's
a
Revenge
rehearsal.
Groupie.
She was the only Elmo's Revenge groupie, but it works. All you need is one.
It works. That's all it takes, man.
It only takes one. I mean, look at Billy Joe Armstrong. He met his wife at a show, and they're still married, years later. So all it takes is one groupie for a garbage ass band like Elmo's Revenge, and you're set. So
I like it.
Let me just say before I'll let you have it, Ray. But I don't want anybody to think that I hate this band. It's just not my cup of tea. At the end of the day, they had some good songs on there. I will tell you what my favorite songs are, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. That's all right.
We don't have to agree, and if the people disagree with you, I mean, at least give the reasons why you feel the way you do, and you can't argue opinions. That's what it comes down to. And Dash and I are going to disagree. I mean, this was my final issue of Sandman, finally reading it. So where I fall, we'll see. But yeah, I played it a lot. Spotify DJ now thinks it's my favorite thing. He's very confused by me because every week I love something else just as much as the last one. So
my Spotify DJ might have put its hand on my forehead to see if I was fit.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of Minor Threat songs in my liked list, and a pretty good chunk of Fugazi ones. So my Spotify DJ is just like, what now, you freak? But all right, we're off on another tangent. So Ray, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, my overall thoughts, I was very fascinated at how each song reminds me, or almost each song reminds me of a different band. This, I'll just list a few here, but overall thoughts. Cash Out sounds like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Life and Limb sounds like Tom Petty. What is it? Strange Light sounds like Billy Corgan.
Oh yeah.
Expectator.
Probably why I like that one. That makes sense now.
Expectator sounds like the Ramones. Like I was pleasantly surprised that it was a lot of variety. That my overall thoughts is just that for first impressions. I thought that was really cool for they don't rely on one thing. I definitely appreciated that for what it was.
And they never have. That's one thing about Fugazi as opposed to Minor Threat, where Minor Threat is more just like, we're going to just pound this sledgehammer into your skull for 25, 30-second songs. And this, when he did Fugazi, he wanted more nuance. So if you listen to their catalog, you'll hear reggae rhythms in there. A lot of kind of dub was something they were highly influenced by. So you'll hear a lot of dub rhythms. He even recorded songs with members of Ministry. So there's even some kind of industrial stuff that Ian MacKaye did through his career. So he's always been kind of all over the place. And this one, yeah, I agree. It's got all those influences in there. And yeah, I thought it was a more nuanced and musically diverse version of Fugazi, because in the end, even though a lot of them have reggae influences and things like that, they're still just kind of straight ahead, loud music. So bringing in piano, bringing in cello, bringing in female backing vocalists, it made it a less bombastic approach to how Fugazi normally does it, but it's still the same urgency that you hear in all of their work. They still really want to get their message out, whether you agree with it or not. They want to get it out, much like he talked about Rage Against the Machine. Like, no one's going to mistake what their message is. And much like Rage Against the Machine, you're never going to get a Fugazi love song. You know, Ian MacKaye's not going to belt it out to his woman and say how much he loves her and, you know, she's the light of his life. We're not getting that version. So I think it's a strong end to their catalog, which is, you know, in my opinion, an amazing catalog. And like I said, I held this one out. I couldn't do it. I was like, I won't play it. So yeah, I finally can say I have finished the catalog.
Very good.
Something else I thought was, now that you've said those last little pieces about it, it did feel experimental to me with the little I knew leading up to this. I did not know their products. When I heard it, it sounded very experimental. So when they had a new vocalist, a second drummer, they tried all these different things. It adds up to me. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what I told Ed in backstage before we started. I was like, I didn't know, you know, I was like, that you nailed it. Cash Out sounds exactly like Anthony Kiedis and Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's who I thought I was listening to. And that's say Ramones and Tom Petty. I'm like, God, you're right on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you get into that one. It's funny because April was in the room when I was playing that one. She goes, it sounds like a Chili Pepper song until you get the point where MacKaye is yelling. Yeah. But in the beginning, it's very Chili Peppers. And it's just kind of funny that it would have that sound, which, you know, if you know me, you know the Chili Peppers are not my bag. So it had to get to the yelling part for me to get there.
Nice.
Banana nut bread.
All right.
The wife is.
If you're not going to share with the class, don't tease us with the banana.
I'm on Rockstar.
If I could, I would totally share you guys. Bread is phenomenal.
High five.
High five. Rockstar here.
Bam.
So we both got our Rockstars going. I'm going to be
Santa
up all
Claus
night on the Rockstar. So yes, good stuff. All right. So now let's dig into our favorite songs on the album. So Dash, what are some of your favorites?
Oh yeah. Well, we'll start with Cash Out. I probably thought that was one of the better ones. And then I did like I know what Full Disclosure is all about. Trust me, I know what it's all about.
Yeah.
But it's still a good song.
Yeah.
It's definitely I would say chaotic.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Like
it works.
If there was a chaotic song, so Cash Out and Full Disclosure probably my two favorite songs on there.
Nice.
So.
All right. So what about you, Ray? What are some of your favorites on this one?
First one, I definitely enjoyed Strange Light, and I think it's for the same reasons you do, Ed. It's basically Billy Corgan in some respects, in some veins. One really interesting thing, just looking at my notes here, Epic Problem. If you listen to that intro, it sounds like anytime you watch a movie from the turn of the century when this album came out. It's like a British indie film heist scene that fails, and then this music kicks in as they try to pivot and like not die.
Yeah.
Yes. I just liked it for that. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm just imagining like Jason Statham and Brad Pitt in the movie Snatch, like or the three guys that are like hiding the gem and they're in like this terrible vehicle, and I just felt that, and I was like, this feels nice to listen to.
Italian Job.
Okay, I got to give you my notes because Ray, we are of the same mind on this one. When I was listening to that one, I said, okay, this one, it's treated like a memo with the stop thrown in there, and I said, every time he yells it, it becomes the musical equivalent of a car engaged in a high-speed chase slamming its brakes. So I got that same vibe. Like, this is a high-speed chase, and he's yelling it, and then he says, stop, and you hear that, like, the band kind of does this whole screeching thing. So it's just like they're in a high-speed chase. He's slamming the brakes so the car can do a skid around and then continue the chase in a different direction.
Yes.
So we were thinking the same thing. It really just it got
definitely
me thinking of
feels
a high-speed chase.
Era. Yes, it feels exactly like, and it's from that time. Like Snatch came out, I think 2001, the same year.
Same year.
So a lot of those heisty type of movies, they had some type of flair of that style of music for insert reason here. That was just the trend.
Yeah. So I thought the same thing. I thought of a car chase, and then it just that when the band kind of hits the stop, they don't go full stop, but it just sounds like they're screeching. Yeah. And I could have imagined this being tossed into Baby Driver or something like that. But Fugazi doesn't license their music for movies, so we'll never have it. Because I think this song, I'm sure a lot of directors probably heard it and thought, oh my gosh, I could do such a cool thing with this song. Yes. But there's no Fugazi songs in movies, you're going to notice, because they don't. They're not licensing their stuff. You don't see them on car commercials. And it would work in a lot of things. Like a perfect car chase song, and every time he yells stop, they could be screeching, and it's just, oh man. I was in the same place as you. So I didn't want to interrupt you, but it was just funny because we were of the same mind on that one. So as definitely. You were, I will stop interrupting you.
All good, man. All good. Just opening up my notes again here. I do like the Ramones, so Expectator definitely hit for me.
Yeah.
Those two were the big ones. Epic Problem and Expectator.
Okay. So let's see. I had Cash Out, even though it starts as a Chili Peppers song, which I was like, okay, you're about to lose me. But I wrote, okay, in this album, And this opening, because every other, I mean, this is the first time Ian MacKay's even attempted to kind of sing. He's not a great singer, and you can get that from it. And that's actually one of the reasons Minor Threat broke up, was because the band wanted Ian MacKay to kind of go more in a direction like Bono. And he was like, I can't do that. I can't sing that way. I mean, and you have a pretty much a guy who's yelled their entire discography, and now they want him to sing more like Bono. And we see that this,
that's a good thing, though.
This is what he's capable of. And he told the band, this isn't me. So this is the first time he's kind of attempted to sing in a softer tone, and he immediately becomes Anthony Kiedis, who also can't sing. So it's like, all right, they fit well together. But I thought it was all right. It's Ian MacKay attacking with a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer. That was my notes. I said it's still a lyrically powerful song, but he's not coming at you, fist flying full attack mode. And it, all of it's about gentrification and, housing crisis. And it's insane how relevant this song remains, especially in places like he grew up in DC. It's a crazy thing. But yeah, that one, I had that. Epic Problem, like we talked about. I loved it. It's car chase vibes. I had The Kill, which my couch metaphor notes for this. I said it feels like the song was placed in a blender of boiling hot water, and what came out is kind of bent, warped, melting, but still has its power. And then Strange Light, I liked that it was kind of creating this picture of almost a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And yeah, I didn't even think about the Smashing Pumpkins vibes, but I'm a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan. As much as I talk shit about Billy Corgan, he's a great songwriter. I love some of his music. I'm not gonna go in for what he's produced recently, but he's still one of my favorites.
I have notebooks of all the crap Ed has talked about Billy Corgan.
He's in the Mount Rushmore of douches. We've already established that. Him, Morrissey, Fred Durst.
Fred Durst.
Oh, Mr. Durst.
And then what's the guy from Third Eye Blind?
Oh, yeah. We never can remember his name, but yes.
Rob something, right? Yeah. Rob. Is it Rob Halford? I don't know, but yeah, he's
the lead singer of Third Eye Blind.
The Third Eye Blind guy. He goes on there.
The studio band.
We won't even put his name on there. We'll just put the dude from Third Eye Blind on our
We'll pull Rushmore. A Sphinx, knock his nose off, and call him the one we will not name.
Yeah. And here's the funny
How's
thing
that for a triple entendre dash?
Billy Corgan produced one of their albums because of course they'd get along.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So I liked O. I thought that one had like the most danceable grooves of this album. And that's what they've always tried to do. And it's also the first and only song in their catalog that has all three vocalists singing on one track together. Normally it's Guy and Ian, but this one has all three. And then Ex Spectator, I put that one in there as well. I love the 2-drum opening. I love the ferocity. And I liked also that it didn't just stay in one mode. It kind of moved and flowed through different movements. So yeah, those are mine on this one.
Ed, this is a minor tangent, but I have to know.
Yes.
You like Smashing Pumpkins and you hate the 70s. So what's your opinion of the song 1979?
I will accept it because it wasn't released in the 70s.
All right.
But honestly, it's my opinion on that song is I think it's been overplayed.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I'm not going to say it's a bad song, but
it's the Mariah Carey Christmas music.
It is. It's definitely there. All I Want for Christmas Is You of the Pumpkins catalog. And I mean, when it came out, I loved it, but I think it's just so many songs from Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness have been so burned out that I can't really listen to them. And it's funny because one of my daughters was getting really into Bullet with Butterfly Wings, and I'm like, I can't play that song. I've heard it too many times. I love it.
On classic rock stations, all the
I know.
Really I'm with you. 1979 was a great song until they to me they didn't start overplaying it till like recently, like in the last few years.
It got second life of overplaying when it hit, because it's one of those ones where it can be played on more of like the classic rock stations, or also kind of like the mellow rock stations that are playing classic rock. So you get it on both. And first off, like, damn it, I'm that old that this is classic rock now. I went to Target and bought that thing the day it came out, all excited, and now it's on classic rock.
One thing that's very interesting is the whole thing involving like something that a song is bad, and if you have enough quality, it's considered good. And a metric is how many people like it, how many people play it. But if it gets so good, people consider it bad again. They hate it because they hear it all the time.
Full circle.
That's really the true metric. If it's played all the time and nobody says they like it, or at least nobody will admit they like it, that's like true top caliber success with a song. Really interesting, you know?
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it is.
When a song goes full
I love
circle,
that song by Mariah Carey, and I like all her other Christmas music. Most people don't know them. You can hate me if you want, but it's just an example of a successful tune, you know?
Yeah, it's gone the full spectrum, and now people like to make fun of it. But I would argue that Wham is equally overplayed on Christmas time. I mean, you can like the song or hate it, but it's so overplayed.
One thing I want to do is sound clipped just his vocals in the background on loop and torture somebody, just him going, oh, just over and over again.
You might have just sent my wife into
tie him in a chair and make them hear that over and over again, and then make them hear, you know, Ian MacKay's Anthony Kiedis-esque vocals, and there you are. You found a way to torture someone.
What's funny is my girls are finally hearing they're finally listening to those songs. You know, they're 7, 8 years old, so they actually like the Last Christmas by Wham.
Well, it hasn't been burned out. My kids both like it as well because they haven't been hearing it for 40 years.
So, but me and their mother are both like,
no more,
no more.
There's a trick for this. As soon as basically, I know there's a huge tangent, but I'll cap it off right here. So
we
November 1st here. November 1st, lots of people just look past Veterans Day. In Canada, we call it Remembrance Day.
Right.
And it always like grinds my gears when people are like putting up Christmas lights on November 1st. I'm like, you're literally looking back or past a holiday that says remember in it. But putting that aside, what I do is I like stay away from like people as much as possible. Grocery stores, anything where there's large crowds between. I'll tolerate it as early as November 12th for obvious reasons, but I try to just not embrace it until November 24th. That gives me 4 weeks of enjoying it. But if you can hold back, if you pick your favorite food, you could only eat it once a year. It's the best tasting food ever. But if you have it every day, you get sick of it. And I try to do that with the Christmas season. Yeah. And that includes going back to what we're talking about, the music. If you hear it all the time, just I can't do this, man. I can't hear it on the radio. I don't know how people that work at a mall tolerate that.
Oh my gosh, because they loop them. It's like an hour loop.
12 weeks of like the same 12
songs. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's brutal. I can't imagine how they don't lose their minds having to hear that. And now here, I mean, the day Thanksgiving ends, it's Christmas. It's not Thanksgiving, sorry. The day Halloween ends, it's Christmas. It used to be Thanksgiving. And now they like forget that. We're going straight from pumpkins to to Santa hats.
Like in August, there's both Christmas and Halloween stuff at stores now.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah,
it doesn't take long. It is.
I guess the sales are there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no more holidays to promote, so they're like, we'll put them both up, and people will already start buying them.
It'd be like that Simpsons bit, Happy Love Day.
Yeah. All right.
What a great episode.
So what are some lyrics you enjoyed on this one, Dash? I know it's probably hard because the lyrics are political or more political.
Well, I'll go with Cash Out. I mean, yes, almost every song is political but I did like, I mean, in Cash Out, they're definitely talking about the housing problem, gentrification, things like that. But I can appreciate, I may not agree, but I can appreciate it. But I kind of, like I said, Cash Out was one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Talking about process and dismissal, forced removal of the people on the corner, shelter and location, everybody wants somewhere. And I mean, even to this day, we still have it doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter where you live, there's a huge problem with homelessness and things like that, and housing, and so I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you, again, for people out there listening, whether you agree or disagree, that's a pretty powerful statement.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole verse right there is. So I understand it.
Yes.
And I know I have friends, that have been in those positions.
Yeah.
So I know what they're going through and have gone through. So I just thought I know what he's talking about, and I can relate to it a little bit because, like I said, I have friends. So I thought it was a really strong and powerful lyric, and whether he could write, if because I believe this was one of his songs, Mackay.
Yeah, that's Mackay's song.
Yeah. He can write, so I will give him credit on that. And then I did have, where's my other word? Epic Problem. It's a good. I mean, it's not one of my favorite songs, but I kind of, and call me weird. I like the almost. It's almost like a telegram to me.
Yeah,
like a telegram. I kind of like that as a song, and so I will give I like the lyrics. Congratulations, stop. Wish I could be there. Stop. I just thought that was well done in the song, and so I will say I like the lyrics in all of it as far as the way it's written.
Yeah, I love the telegram way, and I love how the band kind of screeches, the way they musically do that stop, because they could have just simply just dropped the music out, because Fugazi's famous for just like dropped out silence moments, so they could have just gone for quick silence, but instead they kind of did the screeching car thing that me and Ray picked up on.
So I just thought that was cool. I mean, and I thought the lyrics. So between those two songs I talked about, again, I like the entire, and it's why I think Cash Out's still one of my favorite songs on there. Because I like the lyrics, even when he goes into his screaming. I still feel what he was talking about. So I said there's a lack of emotion. I don't say that like he doesn't have emotion throughout the entire album. He does. It's just, to me, the Epic Problem and Cash Out were probably the best lyric wise to me. So
okay. So Ray, what are some lyrics that stood out to you on this one?
Well, I already talked about how I like Epic Problem. I guess I'm kind of twins with Dash in this one. But that statement, I've got an epic problem, but it's not a problem for me. Yeah. I really relate to that in a couple of different ways. A good example, my best man, him and I are very different in a lot of ways, but our differences complement each other. We're kind of like buddy cops in that respect. I tell him how I've been doing like podcasts to promote my book. Last year when I promoted issue 2 of the Mad Caps, I went through 62 different podcasts and streams. And when I told my friend that, he's like, that sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like a problem. It's not my problem, but like I can understand somebody else looking at that and be like, gee, better you than me kind of thing. Yeah. I stick with that one as well. Epic Problem.
All right. So I had Epic Problem. I think all of us got that. Yeah. And when he said, and inside I know I'm broken, but I'm working as far as you can see. And outside it's all production. It's all illusion, set scenery. I've got this epic problem. The epic problem's not a problem for me. So I liked that, kind of picking up the ones I think we all had it in there, but we had different lyrics for that one. I liked in Cash Out, on the morning of the first eviction, they carried out wishes of the landlord and his son. Furniture's out on the sidewalk next to the family. That little piggy went to market, so they're kicking out everyone. And oh my gosh, like Dash said, the housing problem is so monumental in the United States. I don't know if it's as bad in Canada, but I mean, you see the people that have their furniture just on the sidewalk or just in a bush, and it's something that's huge. And this album was written in 2001. I think it's become substantially worse since this album would have been written. So what would he think about it now as he would look at, where things have gone? Nothing's gotten better. That much is a simple statement.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, so I had
I almost wonder if that's why he doesn't do shows, because he doesn't feel like his messages. I don't know. That's what I was when you started talking about why they haven't gotten back together. I was wondering, this is definitely a message album.
Yes.
So that makes me wonder if, he feels like, and I could be way off, definitely speculation on my part, but he doesn't feel like his message is getting out there, and he thinks, what good is it if I sing this or not? That the message is not being heard.
It's funny you mentioned that. Daft Punk, on a similar parallel, they were always satire of AI, and then when AI started to make its leaps and bounds as of late, they just we're not supporting this, and they just disbanded. It almost seems like a similar vein. Yeah, like, here's all these issues. Look, they've gotten worse. Well, we're out.
And would they have more to say? I mean, it's hard to know. I'm thinking they could put together an album, because they've said it over and over again. They're still good friends. They still talk to each other frequently. They still just get together and jam. But I don't think, maybe it's just like, we don't want to write another album on this level that, goes unheard. And then, 20 years later, someone's going to play it and realize nothing's gotten better. Well, 25 years later, a lot of these same problems could be, they could have written this song yesterday and it would have been completely relevant. So the fact that 25 years ago, it's hitting all those things, maybe, like you said, they don't feel like it's worth it to get out there and put the message out there. So let me see if I had any.
The other dynamic is because they don't really sell their merch or their albums. It amplifies kind of that point you're underlining there. Like, what's there left to be done? If this was their end game, we're not going to beat this to death. We're not going to beat a dead horse here. It's done.
We've said all the things,
and
we've said everything to say.
According to all the reviews, some of the ones I read, 9 out of 10. The 8.5. So I mean, they went out. It looks like they went out on top, on a high.
They went out with strong reviews. I mean, and they were always one of those bands that the scene looked up to. They looked at them as, all right, how to do it the right way, even though we're not going to do it that way. Right. You get bands like Pearl Jam. They love them. They've covered their songs. There's all kinds of artists who have covered their music, but couldn't follow that same level of integrity. I'm looking at you, Pearl Jam, and your $200 tickets. No fucking light show, and you're going to charge that much. You want to sing a Fugazi song and then charge that much money? No, it's wrong. But I'm sure Ian MacKaye would be the same thing. Like, you're going to cover our songs, but not internalize the message. So it's interesting. But yeah, I had Strange Light. I like that one when he said 100 plants to fortify. Beige concrete goes on for miles, hiding cities under it. Fill my mouth with non-mouth spit. There was a light at the window, a light under the door, but it's not there anymore. So kind of this whole, the sun's not shining the way it should. So you got pollution, and just everything on it is saying the world is a mess. And sadly, there hasn't been great improvement in any of these areas since this album was written. So yeah, who knows what their reasoning is. And they don't really do interviews. I know they'll do them. If you're some small fanzine, you got a better chance of getting them than if you're Rolling Stone or Spin, because they won't do any kind of interviews in magazines that have alcohol or cigarette ads in them, which throws out a huge chunk of it.
Yeah,
so that's why I say some little, fanzine somewhere has a chance of grabbing them, but every Rolling Stone and Spin or any of those bigger, Entertainment Weekly, if the ones that still exist, they all have 4 or 5 alcohol ads through them. So they stick with their straight edge principles, and you got to love that, because they could be making huge amounts more than they made if they were willing to just kind of compromise a little bit. So yeah, let me see. My last one I had was Ex-Spectator. He said, here's some questions that the writer sent. Can an observer be a participant? Have I seen too much? Does it count if it doesn't touch? So yeah, I like MacKaye's vocals. I like his yelly delivery. I like his sledgehammer more than his scalpel. But I mean, I'm a fan. Not since the start. I think I was like 7 when Minor Threat was out there doing their thing. So I was too young to be blasting straight edge songs, and my dad definitely wasn't. But
what is he's got to be?
He's got to be in his 60s, I would
60s,
think.
I would think, yeah.
So let's see. Kai is, let's see here. Hold on. I'm trying to look this up. He is, does it even
Yeah, pushing right at 63.
He was born in 62.
Yeah, so he's about 63 now, or is 63.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yep. 63 because he was born on April 16th. So there we go. All right. So now we get to our next category. Dash, are you skipping any songs on this one?
Again, another preface. I'm not skipping them because they're horrible songs. I'm not skipping just because I don't agree with them. But there's only two that, I mean, I'll listen to the album. I have no problem with that, whether they're my favorite songs or not. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I'm skipping that. that untitled intro, obviously.
Oh yeah, that
doesn't count.
And that's where I ended. We're skipping. No, I know you guys liked it. Strange Light was not my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one.
I'll probably, it's. Let me preface this. I'm not skipping as much as I'm just not paying attention. Does that sound better? Is that like
you're tuning out?
I'm tuning out. So Strange Light, I'm probably tuning out, as well as where's my other one there? Come on now. Let me get back to my notes. Strange Light was one of them, and the other one was Night Shop.
I didn't write many notes on that one at all. So it's one of those ones where it's like I guess I kind of tuned it out, where a lot of them I have these extensive notes and I didn't put much about that one, good, bad, or otherwise. So I don't know.
It's just that song that was there to me. It would just, it didn't, because you could looking, because like you guys do, I do my research. It's not even mentioned in good or bad. It's not even mentioned in good or bad songs.
None of the reviews really put it in there. Right. As any mention, so yeah. Interesting.
And I'll probably and I didn't like The Kill. Yeah, I'll probably skip that one.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that one. Let me see, it wasn't in my favorite ones, but yeah, it was definitely, it's dark content,
Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, I mean, and again, I want the audience to know, so we don't get rated and beat up on YouTube and whatnot. If you like the album, great. This one did not sit with me, but I'm not skipping, so that's probably a good thing.
Yeah,
for the most part, I'm probably not going to tune into it a lot. I will in good faith listen to the other albums, though. I feel like if I have to be, if I'm going to be fair, and this is the way I've always done things. If I'm going to watch it, if I'm going to review a movie, I'm watching the movie.
Yeah.
If I'm reviewing a book, I'm gonna listen or read the book. I don't feel like in good faith that I can say I didn't like it and I didn't even listen to it. So I want to give, in good faith, listen to the entire album or the library.
Yeah, the 13 songs in repeater are my favorites. Those are the ones I go back to. I mean, I don't know if you've heard Waiting Room, but that's kind of the first song on the first album, and it's a jam. And they use the silence, and that's my favorite Fugazi song. So, I mean, it's probably everybody's favorite Fugazi song,
and I'm one of the people that I may not technically agree or wholeheartedly get behind the song, but that doesn't mean it's not a good song to somebody, and it doesn't mean it doesn't have good lyrics. So, yeah, I will say that.
And Waiting Room, if you get to it, it's not a political song. It is more about kind of patiently waiting to find the right band, because he had two bands kind of implode on him, and Minor Threat being the bigger one because that was something he was so deeply passionate about, and the band couldn't go on. So he says, I won't make the same mistakes because I know how much time that takes. So he's just talking about waiting patiently to get the right thing. And then Fugazi lasted plenty of time. And then, like I said, he's done little side stuff here and there, but Fugazi was the one that had the most longevity of all of them. I think Minor Threat lasted like 2 years, so not very long. All right, so any other ones you're skipping?
No, I think that's it for me.
All right, So anyone for you, Ray, that you're gonna skip?
There was two that didn't really sit well with me. Also, The Kill on my end. The other one, the song "Oh," those two didn't really feel for me. Those two I would skip.
Yeah,
just not my thing. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't have anything bad. I just wasn't feeling them.
Yeah, and "Oh" is I mean I had "Oh" in one of the songs that I liked, but "Oh" was the one song that Pitchfork called out saying it didn't work. So they did not like "Oh." They thought it was kind of the one misstep on the album. So Pitchfork agrees with you. So for once, there's a Pitchfork agreement. For me, I'm just sticking with the basic intro song. It does nothing. The funny thing is, if you go on Spotify, it puts the lyrics to the song, and on intro, which has no lyrics, it's putting the lyrics for "Love Song" by The Cure.
Yep, by The Cure.
So I'm just laughing. I'm like, are they playing "Love Song" like in a detuned radio in the background or something? But no, it's just not there. But Spotify was just lazy and like, here, throw the lyrics for "Love Song" in there.
I saw that. So
I was laughing. It's like, okay, there's no lyrics yet. It's the "Love Song" lyrics. Because I had to dig deep. Like, does it actually have hidden lyrics? Does it, are they giving their little nod to Robert Smith? But no, it's just Spotify being drunk. So what can we say? All right. So now we come to our final category for this album. Are we going to keep it or return it to the used bin? So Dash, what are you doing on this?
Again, I'll return it, not because I hate it. Just it's not like, we said, it's not my cup of tea, but I will give all the other albums a Spotify listen to, and to say that I'm kind of like you. If I'm going to listen to somebody, I want to listen to their whole dig deep and listen to their category, because there may be songs in there that hit me. I mean,
and there
Cash Out hit me.
Sure to be some, I'm sure.
Yeah, Cash Out hit me. It's a really good. I'm glad it was the real opening song.
Kind of opener, yeah. I guess technically not.
But yeah, I'll probably return it. But
okay,
and I'll give the other ones a listen to.
Yeah. All right. So what about you, Ray? What are you doing with this one?
I would keep it for anything work related or gym related.
Yeah.
This one I wouldn't listen to per se to the lyrics. I shouldn't say lyrics, to the vocals.
Right.
Okay.
Because you have to like that style of vocals to appreciate it for what it's given you.
Mm-hmm.
But as I already mentioned, some of it feels like turn of the century, which and I mean this in a good way, I can go numb to while I focus on getting a job done. That's one of the songs that would actually, or that's one of the groups of music that would actually help me very beneficially. So I would keep it on that merit alone. But like I already pointed out, there are songs I wholeheartedly do enjoy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's easy. I'm going to definitely keep this one. I've played the vinyl a couple times. I enjoy it, but I'm coming from, like I said, very, very much back to the beginning, where I was a huge Minor Threat fan. I've actually sought out any of the projects that Ian MacKaye was a part of. So Corky, which no one even knows of their existence, his kind of one album he's released post Fugazi. I have that album. I bought the vinyl of that. And the great thing is, if you buy directly from Discord, you won't pay over $20 for vinyl and no more than $10 for the CD. And they had that on the older CDs, the ones that I had on CD from back in the 90s and 2000s. They have a little thing on the back that says, do not pay more than $12 for this CD. If you pay more than $12, you're being robbed by the seller. So you got to love that they just came out and said, like, don't, because you go to Best Buy and they'll slap a $16.99 price tag on it because that's what Best Buy or the warehouse did. But Fugazi had that disclaimer right on the back: do not pay more than this. And then it even said, like, or if they're trying to charge you more than this, please order it directly from us. So you got to love the amount of integrity this band has. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm going to find a reason to like it, because I just love what Ian MacKaye stands for. Whether you agree with his politics or not, you have to love we're all independent creators. You have to love his DIY mentality, where we're like, we aren't here for the middleman. We are going to do it ourselves, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to hold all integrity to ourselves. So I love that about him. That's why like Ian MacKay is the indie GOAT in my opinion. Like
I can
did
respect
it all
that
himself, and I love that he did it that way. I mean, that he never compromised, not once. You're not going to hear them on anything but Fugazi albums, and that's an integrity that a lot of people can't afford. But if you're lucky enough to still be able to sell 3 million albums while keeping that level of integrity, it's a lot easier, where you'd have to be some kind of a trust fund baby to pull it off now.
But it's like we said, they went out. I mean, sticking to their guns, so to speak. That's why they went out on top, because they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't sell out. That's why I said when you said that one of your friends said they're sellouts, I was like, listen to this album. It does not sound like they're sellouts. It sounds like they're true to themselves. And like you said, I can appreciate that. I appreciate his writing. I mean, I think he's well in tuned, and he can write. And it's hard. Sometimes we've had a lot of artists on here. We're like, what is he writing? And but where he comes from, and I can like just like Ray said, I can appreciate that, and I'll stand behind him on that.
Yep. But, so yes, mine is an easy keep. So before we talk about next week, we are going to talk about Ray's Kickstarter. Let me pull it up.
I need some D&D. I mean,
that too.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to pull this up so you can tell us all about it. Welcome to the squinty portion of the show.
Here, hold on. I've got these on standby. I'm getting to that age.
Yeah, I'm well past that age.
I just started this year. I'm only at the cheaters at the pharmacy type of glasses.
The readers.
Okay.
Readers.
I'm not at the look down my nose to the, hey, there we go.
Yes. So there we go. Tell us about the Madcaps issue 3.
Issue 3 is the final issue to this miniseries. It is currently, the Kickstarter is almost at 130 followers.
Nice.
We have, why don't you show these covers here? I'll tell you about Victor Medina. He's my interior artist. That cover there was done as a warm-up for issue 2's interiors. And I liked it so much with some color corrections, I bought it off him. So that's going to be the main cover, main protagonist cover.
Love it.
Underneath that, we have the main antagonist cover. We have not seen anything about this individual as of late, but I'll explain more in the elevator pitch once you're done showing these covers. That's drawn by Harv Salteras. He's drawn Ghost Rider in the 90s. He's done like a bunch of different things, The Flash, Catwoman, and lots of other cool stuff. This is done by Pogs Art in the Philippines, colored by all of these except for the main cover are all colored by Dan and Dave Kemp.
Okay.
And this one here, including coloring, is done by Fish Lee.
Mr. Fish Lee.
God, that is...
Hold tight, go up to the cover just above this one. That one there, all of the white is going to be glow in the dark for physical copies. And the one underneath with Little Wee Dunn walking away from Flaming Wreckage, that's going to be lava foil.
Oh, that's going
to be a really good one.
You dropped this one about a week or so ago, and man, I stopped and for 10 minutes. I kid you not. For 10 minutes, I'm looking at this cover on my my phone. I'm like, God, this is so good. Fish did it. Fish. Oh man,
Fish does such a good job. He did my floaters foil was done by Fish as well, and it's so good. I love his work, and that's why I told him when Immortal Era 12, I'm gonna have him to get a cover put together for that one as well, because he just does such a good job.
All I did for Fish was I said to him, I want Dunnan, who's under 4 feet tall, walking away from something that used to be a building, but is pretty much just a flaming ruin.
Yeah.
Put a bit of mischief in the expression of his face.
Yeah.
And it's going to be lava foil. He said, say no more. And this was like very little corrections on my end. Every time
you don't need to give him much. He is the man.
If your electricity goes out, just pull this cover out and light your way.
It will light. It will the way.
That is so good. God.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
I might buy 3 of those covers. I'm kidding you not. I might buy 3 of those covers.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. There are other covers coming. So I like to do variants of every character for this mini series. There's one coming out. It's drawn by Mike Mez Phillips. It's already inked. It's getting colored by, I believe, Dave Kemp is coloring that one, of Madrakis, the big, large fellow. We'll talk about them shortly. And also, there's one of Sarlacc, drawn by Jay Sloan. If anybody remembers issue 2 with Chazgo and his pet Emmix on his shoulder, the same artist is doing one of Sarlacc, the dwarf, and it's looking pretty good. You can look on his Facebook profile right now. It's almost finished being inked.
Sweet.
Dash is gone right away to look.
I am. Yes, I am.
Jay Sloan. You can look him up on Facebook. Now, with that said, I'll give you the elevator pitch.
Let's hear it.
I want to keep this going forever and ever. But anybody, and I've said this on a lot of podcasts now, but anybody who hasn't heard me talk about this as of yet, this entire mini series is going to be available April 16th. We launch. If you have friends that you don't get to see as much, as we get older, responsibilities and other variables of life get in the way. It could be children, your job, school, relationships, moving across country. That happened to me. And there's just people, your circles, every time you see them, it's rarer and it feels like a bigger deal, despite the fact that usually less is done as you get older. It's usually just hanging out, eating food, and talking in a lot of cases. If you can relate to anything I've just said right there, this book is an homage to that level of camaraderie, and you'll feel like a fly on the wall. All 3 issues take place in one night, and you can kind of feel like you're hanging out with people that have that level of camaraderie. How they work well together, how they rub each other the wrong way, their synergy, their quirks, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As it says there, right at underneath the title, this last issue is about 4 friends hunting down a necromancer who is attempting to curse their town by sunrise. Issue 1 begins with them just meeting up for the first time in a while at their hometown, and they happen to be in the wrong place. They end up helping guards stave off the beginnings of an undead outbreak, and one thing leads to another, and they follow a couple leads with the suspicion this might have something to do with a local drug that's fairly new in circulation called Weave. So issue 1 and 2 is trying to just track down. Every time they pull a thread, there's more revealed. So they're kind of in the middle of the night leading up to this final issue. There's this reveal about this necromancer. You haven't seen it yet except on one of these covers. Have no idea about her whatsoever. But to quote my interior artist, Victor Medina, the action I put in is justified. I don't have all action all the time. And he feels I'm not scared to slow it down when necessary to tell a story. This leads up to something big. And issue 3, I've done all the setup to justify all the violence, like the look on that little guy's face. Another cool thing, all of my covers have something to do with what's going on in the issue. So that image there, something like that happens in the issue. I guarantee you, like there's a lot going on. As they say in volleyball, bump, set, and spike. This is issue 3. It spikes and it spikes hard.
Yeah.
I wanted people to feel like this fantasy setting, this reality, this realm exists before the story starts, these 3 issues, and it will feel like the world will continue on once these 3 issues are done. And as I already mentioned, with all 3 issues being in one night taking place, issue 1, the first couple pages, the sun is going down. By the end of issue 3, the sun's coming back up. And I wanted people to feel intimately stuck with them in the night. And the last thing I'll say about this 3rd issue, this is getting to the back half of the night. They're not at their best. They're exhausted. These are not the toughest or mightiest of individuals in the realm. They're tired. They're underprepared. But even going to ask for help will be a waste of precious time. The expiration date for a bad thing happening is when the sun comes back up. So there's a lot of pressure for them to perform. And again, going full circle back to having that homage of camaraderie. If you've ever been with friends and something even minorly bad happens, an old person falls at the intersection, with all your buddies around, even if you were a selfish person, you would go and help that person up. That's one of the best things about having circles of friends, at least the right friends anyways. These guys don't have any other option. They're obligated to follow through with this, and they're not the best suited for the job. So we'll see what happens. If anybody feels any of this resonates with you, even if you can't support financially, if you click on that pre-launch link, you definitely want to click on follow, and you'll be altering the algorithm in my favor, so other people will be more than happy to help out accordingly and just buy in and get this awesome book. These three issues have nothing to do with anything else. So unlike Marvel or DC, you will get every reference in it because there's not like 70, 80 years worth of lore that I have to have memorized and figured out. No disrespect. I mean, I wish we're talking about how songs are so good that people start hating it because they're that good. I mean, no disrespect to Marvel or DC. I mean, if that was a problem for me, I would not be complaining. Well, I don't have to look up on Reddit or something. What was this reference in this one issue? But with that said, beginning and end, when you're done reading it, you know what? That was a complete story.
Yes.
I got so much talent, so many different people involved for talent, I should say. And I wanted people that I felt were worthy of contributing to this story. And I feel this is a book. This is my first time writing a comic. I feel it's something that's worthy of the industry, such as you already have Fish Lee right there. And his product is his cover. Victor Medina's interiors, right down to the Kemp Brothers coloring, and Micah Myers, who's doing the inking. Shout out to Philbo Publishing. I've just recently got word that this book is going to be put into trade paperback, and it's going to distribution at local comic stores. So I'm flattered. I'm very flattered.
That's awesome.
For somebody to say that about my book, it must be above average, right? So you won't know unless you buy in, or at least click on that follow to make sure other people are aware of it. How can they even say no to a book if they don't even know it exists?
Yes, and
so
this link is in the chat. So get in there, click that link, and it costs you nothing.
Yes. So again, this is about camaraderie told with the theme of fantasy through the medium of a comic book. If you like any of those things, you're definitely going to want to be ready. We got some cool add-ons that I can't talk about yet, but one that I did for the last two, and Dash was part of it. You can buy in. There's one tier. It's limited. We have a professional dungeon master. The tier itself, when you pay into it, I don't get any of that money. It's to pay for the dungeon master services. It's a one-shot. It's a good time. I've played with this guy a bunch of times. One time I was a DM and he played in, which was a really good time. But if you like any of these things, just give it a follow, and life is going to be good. I'll tell you that much. I'm really looking forward to not like torturing myself trying to bite my tongue not talking about this.
Yeah,
this
you
is
can
my
finally
3rd April.
unleash.
Yes. So
and
looking
this is
forward
not a
to it.
Fugazi dungeon master, just so we know.
I'm just screaming at all the players all the time. Ah!
He's going all Ian MacKay on him.
I am ready for that. You know the tier I'm going to go in on. So
I got to get a fish cover. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mentioned there's 2 more covers coming. There's 4 more on top of that, which sounds excessive. I've never done this many for one issue. When you see them, you'll understand. And speaking of torture, I can't say any more of that.
I will just say I took a sneak peek of the one you were just. Oh man, I don't want to get. That's you to give away, but that was good.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones coming out. We'll put it that way.
So
Dash
I'm
can
looking
concur.
forward to that. And then let's talk about next week. Because you know what? When you have it live, you can come back on and talk another album with us. We don't know what we're going to be covering yet, but we'll let you know. And you are always welcome to come on. Yeah. And next week, we are doing the brand new album by the Gorillaz and 8 million different guest stars. So if you know the Gorillaz, you know that they will use a bunch of different people on there. So I'm going to pick it up this Saturday at the Gorillaz Museum in LA. And we'll dig into it next week. So
The
it should
only
be a
thing
lot of
I
fun.
don't like about a Gorillaz album is you don't get to see the art or the like when they do a video and the art and everything that they do. That is the best thing about the Gorillaz. I love the music by Gorillaz. Don't get me wrong, but you just don't get to see the art that they create. And
They create such a
Yes.
it's got multimedia where you have
Yes.
these
Yes.
amazing animations that go with them, and each song has its, the guest stars become characters in their world, and it's so much fun. And I'm very curious to see what the Gorillaz Museum is all about, because I can imagine it's going to have a lot of really cool stuff going on, but I'll find out. And then today I just scored tickets for their show in October, so that's when you get the full experience, when they're playing the songs and they have the video behind them giving you the full visual. So that's really the way to get it all from Gorillaz. So next week we'll be digging in to the brand new album. I have not heard a single track from it, so it's going to be truly brand new for me. So I'm looking forward to it. And make sure you get in there and hit that follow button on Ray's Kickstarter. I'm looking forward to this one.
Be sorry.
And head over to my YouTube and watch my review of Madcap's #1, so you can get an idea of what it's all about. I think Ray summed it up better than I did, because of course he's the one that knows everything that's going to be happening and kept it spoiler free enough where you can be tantalized and know that it's going to be a fun ride. So until next week, I'll see you on Saturday for Saturday Morning Comic Talk. And then next week, we'll be back talking Gorillaz. So have a great rest of your week.
Nice. Bye.
I saw you two guys earlier at the Good Humor truck, and you were eating your ice cream like little boys, and I thought, those guys aren't so tough. They're eating ice cream. What a bunch of swell guys. I saw you eating ice cream, pal. Oh, don't you deny it. You were eating an ice cream cone. You were eating an ice cream cone. Oh, you're bad now. You're bad now, but you're eating an ice cream cone. And I saw you. That's the shit you can't hide, You got your fucking shit, but you eat ice cream. Everybody knows it. The whole fucking place knows it. Ice cream eating motherfucker. That's what you are.